Hey, good afternoon. I am so excited that you guys have joined me today. I'm here with Aundrea Sides, and we're going to look at clutter from a completely different angle today. Today, we're going to look at it from a metaphysical level and the energy that we are consuming in our personal lives as we
Mm.
try to go from room to room in our house, and how that energy is coming out of us and into our stuff, and how it's blocking our creativity and our intuition. So I know we've had lots of questions on this over the last couple of years as we've been taking an honest look at ourselves and how clutter is affecting our lives, our productivity, our peace of mind, and our family relationships. So today we have
Mm.
an expert with us who's going to be taking your questions. So I'm going to invite you to ask your questions in real time, and we're going to answer as many of them as we can. I'm going to ask you, though, to help me with this by putting a cue in front of your question so that as you're chitty chatting with your neighbor here during the conversation, that we don't miss your question. So if this is a question for Aundrea, please put a cue in front of it, and then I'll know that, hey, that's a question that we want to answer on today's show. So with that,
Mm.
please help me welcome Aundrea Sides. How are you today?
Oh, thank you. What a beautiful introduction, Angela. I so appreciate. And hello, everybody. And Angela, thank you so much for having me on your show with your wonderful people. It's great to be here, and I was just excited to be here. And I'm having a fantastic day. It's a little bit late, and I'm in Mauritius, this little beautiful place that's behind me. So I'm nice and relaxed. Finished my day pretty much, and I'm here talking with all of you, totally present, ready to do this.
And so in your time zone, what time is it there where you are right now?
It's about 11 p.m.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm keeping you past your
Yeah.
bedtime. Thank you.
Oh, it's okay
Thank you
though.
so
This is
much.
it's this is important. This is important for people. I really feel that.
So it's
Mhm.
2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am. And so I know across the United States, we've got people here in the afternoon and the morning. So thank you so much for
Mm.
joining us all the way across the world.
Mhm.
This is awesome. I do
Mm.
want to say hello. A Rashi says hi. So I want to thank you guys for showing up and for joining us today. And
Hey.
again, please add your questions to our comments. We would love to hear from you. All right. So I've got a
Mm.
couple of questions that I want to start with because this is a really interesting perspective on how clutter
Mm.
is affecting our lives. And so I want to find out in the beginning, because you didn't just wake up one day and go, hey, I have this expertise. How did you get where you are right now with this level of expertise that you've been using for the last 2 and 3 decades?
Yeah, so it's so interesting. I'm going to use this in metaphors because this is the only way that people can really understand like the material. And then when it comes to your intuition, your soul, your inner knowing, and the way that all of our workings happening, meaning our intuition. I'm going to start this the intuition, the heart, our soul, our divine wisdom, our mind, our body. Okay. So when these things are working in harmony, mm, and they're clear, naturally it shows on the outside.
Mm.
So if we are remembering where we came from, and I'll go back as far as like, okay, so we're born. All right. And when we're born, we are, you look into a beautiful baby's eyes, right? And you see nothing but just light and beauty. And of course there's somebody there to take care of you and do all this, but they're not downloaded with all of these things in the world yet. We're pure, we're love, we're innocent. And we bring light and smiles and laughter and fun wherever we're at. Now, this is the same thing also when you're telling, for me, when I'm telling my story where I got started. You asked me 10 years ago, I would have told you a different story.
Mhm.
Now, as you learn to encompass this unconditional love, this love of who you are, meaning not the love for everyone else. Like we love our kids and we love our family just for breathing. How about bringing that back and bringing that mm, into your own self, your own heart, and really genuinely being able to feel it? And if you don't know how, you start asking questions, right? And you ask questions. And when you are bringing questions and listening for the answers within versus your best buddy, your husband, your wife, your job, all these things, when they don't know your story can literally change from one moment to the next. So 10 years ago, my story was different. When you start to heal, when you start to really clean up the patterns, the limitations, the clutter of the mind, the soul, all of your distractions going outward, your story changes and you remember the essence of how you came in, which was creativity,
Mm.
imagination, mystery, curiosity. Um, of the world, but also of your own world, laughter, fun, happiness, all these different things, and then communication and connecting with people. So I was always very sensitive when I was a child. I felt everyone's emotions. I felt everybody's emotions. And I always was the first one to try to change a subject or make somebody laugh, even from a very young age. And then somewhere along the line, and this is going to go with perfectly with your show and clutter because it's the same. I want people to hear the hints and the similarities because they're coming of
Mhm.
what we're talking about, who we are and our essence, our frequency, our soul, our intuition, whatever you want to call it. Okay. What that is, and then how it shows up on the outside world. There is no hiccup in between. So whatever you're doing inside is going to show up on the outside. It's just it's sovereignty, it's owning your sovereignty, it's owning self-responsibility. This is really really important, and this is not unloving. This is like, wow, let's bring all my power back right here, right now. So I'm just going to ask your audience as I'm telling my story. That's wonderful to be inspired by people's stories, but even more so, ask to bring all the distractions. Right now, somebody's playing with their phone or they're distracted over here, or maybe what would it take for me to bring all of my power and all my essence back right now so that I can feel in this moment present? When you start looking at things presently, you really start to see also what is going on around you and you become more conscious or aware.
Mhm.
Yes? So this is really important. So as we're moving forward and as I'm looking backwards, what's really cool is I am mm, healing certain parts of myself or getting rid of different patterns or things that might have learned from my mom or dad or one of those things, right? And as I clear those things, which we show people how to do with Vitality Unleashed Life, we pull them from the root. And then the way that you look at your past is now different. So now you don't have all of the clutter. So now it's not you're looking at all the clutter in your household and saying, how am I going to get rid of this? Where do I even start? You're like, let's go. Woo! I am on fire. I'm ready to do this because you've just changed your emotional attachment, your story, your pattern, your mentality. It's not motivation like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. No, you cleaned up something that was deeper. You paid attention to who you were. You brought yourself in the present moment so that you can look around and be able to see. And what happens is I see, Angela, a lot of people doing is they just don't want to see it. And they just get more and more and more and they just want to see it because they're covering, they don't want to sit with themselves. Okay, I will
Well, let
tell
me
people
ask
you're
you
not.
that
Yeah.
question. When you
Mhm.
talk about sitting with yourself and being mindful and being present in the moment,
Mhm.
in a situation where maybe our lives are cluttered and we've showed up in a place where we have just too much stuff and we have too many things on our calendar and we're just go, 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 and we're busy and then our lives are just packed with stuff everywhere we turn. How do we stop and just bring ourselves back to this moment that you're talking about of, hey, from the inside out, I love myself enough that I'm gonna be mindful in this moment and I'm gonna make this moment count. How do we get from the world of ick to a world of peace?
You just explained it. It's so simple. It's that. You just even explained it. It's that simple. We are made with our energy to be in so many different directions. There's got to be, and it is as simple as looking at your calendar and saying, what would a person be if you don't know how to love yourself, or if you do love yourself, you say, I love myself. What would a person do that loves themselves in this moment do right now? Or you look at your calendar and you find, okay, so you have 100% of your day filled up. 7%. Okay, 7%. It only takes 7% at first. We're this powerful, 5%. 10% would be better, 5, 7%. What brings me joy? What brings me joy on this calendar that I know that absolutely? And how can I bring that essence into everything that I'm doing today? And, or it's really good to learn how to get in, mm, master your emotions. And the way that you do that, make a list of negative emotions, make a list of positive emotions. But I'm going to say even positive emotions. What do you want to bring? What emotion would you like to bring throughout the day and create it? Get imaginative, get excited. Okay, something as, and this doesn't have to be woo woo or weird. What does the sun do? The sun's out every day most of the time. And even if we can't see it, we know it's there. It gives life. It shines on us. It gives us vitamin D. It makes our eyes brighter. There's so many wonderful things that it does. It makes our plants grow. It gives us everything, and it gives of itself without asking anything return. So how can you love so the sun. So an example of creativity in the moment, and you're just too overwhelmed and everything. Okay, so take a moment. The sun, getting back to the simple things. Ooh, I'm getting connected to my body. Oh, I'm going to be imaginative here. I'm going to be a little creative. Okay, the sun. The sun does all these things, and I'm working on positive emotion, and I'm being grateful. And I'm going to say, sun, ooh, can you shine yourself on my head so that I can have some stability and clarity? Thank you. Sun, can I breathe you in, and can you just like shine in my eyes so that I can see things more clearly? And that I can hear things more clearly. Son, this is like when we're kids, right? Why don't we do this kind of like, it's the simplest thing. It's simple. In your throat. How can I open my throat so that I can speak my truth? The sun, how can you match my heart? So everywhere that I go, that I'm full of vitality, I'm full of energy. This is
Would you
bringing.
say, though, that when you're bringing, let's say, the sun into your life, if your windows
Mhm,
are closed and there are a bunch of boxes in front of the windows and you can't get to the windows to even open up the sun, would you
mhm,
suggest that then you go outside and spend a moment outside so that as you're walking briskly through the neighborhood around the block or something, that you can
mhm.
have that moment uninterrupted so that you can be crystal clear about the intention of your day? Instead of just saying, well, I can't even see the sun, can't get to the windows, yeah, I know I should do it,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it today.
Yeah. So this is emotional mastery. So this is part of emotional mastery. So you can either choose. Now this is great. This is two different. This is wonderful. Yes, you can do that. Either one works. However, being able to sit still with yourself, or you can go outside and do that. Being able to create the inspiration, being able to create something inside of yourself that it feels different. And why I said sun is because it's already there. It's not like an emotion that's like, oh, joyful and laughter when you're not even there. You can say
Hmm.
something nice about the sun. You can whatever that it is, right? That's in your life. So there's two things here. So you are learning emotional mastery. You're learning how to go inside of yourself and create the space that you want so it naturally comes out. So when you're looking around, it doesn't seem so bad anymore, Angela. It
Hmm.
doesn't seem so hard to do. It doesn't seem so overwhelming because you're coming out with you're elevated. You're a little bit your new perspective. You have a new perspective in your body and your mental ability. You have a little bit more oomph to go through that box or to be able to do whatever that is. Now, these are just really basic things. This is somebody that is probably like a real hoarder, but it doesn't have to be either. It could be somebody that is looking to be a minimalist. That's me. I'm a minimalist. I'm not just saying this. I walk the walk. I go all over the world. I have my children with me. I go to different places in the world, and I'm very conscious, and I know what I have in my home, and everything has its purpose. And this is a result of this intuitive and emotional mastery. This is not me just talking and then I have a bunch of boxes in my background. No.
Hmm.
I moved to a new country. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
My question then is for somebody who is, and I'm going to speak on behalf of everybody that is
Mhm,
in the process of being
mhm,
aware and not knowing what to do yet. So it might
mhm,
be that I know I should do something different with my life and change the energetic field that I'm living in, but I don't know how
mhm.
to do that. Therefore, it's showing up in my life as aches and pains and ailments and stress. Can you address that and tell us how we can become more aware and how it's getting blocked up in our bodies and showing up in different places. Because I
Mm.
think once we understand the importance of being aware, then we'll have choices, and we can choose to master that, which is exactly what you're talking about right now.
Yeah. So I'm a doer. So I'm like, so I can talk in metaphors and do all of that other stuff, but I would like to take some, but I would like to. So the first thing is it's really good if you have a hard time sitting down and meditating and being by yourself, turn on your voice recorder and create a meditation for yourself. Listen to your voice. Listen to how you feel when you, so this is your voice. So if you are feeling a certain way, this is what you're putting out into the world. So you need the first thing is just an awareness, right? You're okay, this
Mhm.
is how I feel. And then sit with it. Now, the reason that people don't want to do that is because we're not taught, Angela, from a very young age, how to master our emotions, how to make all of these things in harmony where they're working together so that we can have a wonderful life, right? So being able to the sun. Okay, so the sun's coming in. The sun's coming in. Okay, I really don't want to do this. I'm not really crazy, but I do know that the sun shines on me and I know that it gives me my food. Heck, it gave me all these boxes and everything that I have in my house and all these things. It's helped produce all of it. Okay, all right, I can get that. I got this. This is cool. All right, okay. All right, well, I am thankful for that. Whatever part is screwed up in this and wherever I judge myself, okay, I'm just going to judge myself. I'm going to allow myself to judge myself right here. And let me see if I can get neutral about it. Son, can you help me? Myself, can you help me with this, please? I would like some clarity. I would like to feel my emotions and get to a place of where I can just be non judgmental of myself. That I don't,
Ah,
with all
not
the
ju-
boxes around. You don't
yeah.
have to go right into action. People are not there. If they're there, they're not there yet. They have to start practicing their inner stuff without criticizing. So
Well, and that's the
criticism.
thing. That's the thing. And I want to stop for just a second because I don't want this moment to slip by. Instead of just saying, I acknowledge that I have this, reaching a place of non judgmentalness is then going to free you up of all the guilt that many of us associate with having too much stuff. And so if we can become non judgmental, then that's going to free us up then to move to the next steps. Can you talk about that for a second and how we get to a place of being non judgmental? Oh no, it looks like we have a frozen internet connection for a second. I hate when that happens. I really want to highlight the fact of the things that Andrea is telling us today, and hopefully she'll jump back in and again here in a second. One of the things that is really important to us as we're having a year of clarity, I'm saying a year of clarity, this is the year that defines us. And if we are in a position where we can, in fact, be honest with ourselves and take a look at the stuff that's in our homes, the way that we're living our life, the way that our energy is showing up on a day to day basis, whether it is showing up as stress, whether it's showing up as chaos and confusion and too much stuff and too cluttered of schedules, or if it is, in fact, our the ability or the inability to forgive ourselves for having clutter and stuff in our house and removing that guilt. If we are in a position where we can go from where we are right now to a place of non-judgmental behavior, and we can say, you know what, I'm a good person, I have a good heart, I have good intentions, I know that because I'm in a cluttered state that it is consuming my energy and it's consuming my free space, if you will, then we only then are we free to make different choices. Because if we're unaware and we don't know what's happening, we're not going to be inspired to make a change. And so if you look around at the world around you and you are unaware, we call it house blind. If you keep walking through the same trails in your home, and there are boxes of stuff that have been sitting there for 2, 3, 5, 10 years, and you haven't moved them, you're probably not even seeing them anymore. I know that when we got ready to move our house, there was, in fact, ripples in the carpet where the carpets needed to be stretched. And I didn't know that they needed to be stretched because I was house blind to that. And I wasn't aware every time I walked into that room that there was a bubble in the carpet. And it wasn't until the stager came in and she pointed it out to me that I was like, oh my goodness, it's there. And I was talking to my mother on the phone. And my mother said, oh yeah, every time I come to your house, I see that. And I wonder why you never got it fixed. And my mother didn't say anything about it. And I didn't see it because I was house blind. And I see that Aundrea has joined us again, so I'm going to bring her back up on stage. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come back up. Um, I see that she's coming back up here. I got a thumbs up. I'm going to bring her back up. But what I want us to do is I want us to be aware, and she's going to help us with this. How do we become aware of the space that we're in right now and not be house blind so that we can see things and go, wait a second, that's consuming my energy. That is taking up space in my life that it really serves no purpose. And so I want to give freedom, non-judgmental freedom, no guilt, to be able to give myself permission to either remove this from my life or to deal with it in a way that's meaningful so that my space is clear. So, Aundrea, you're on mute. Come on back and join us again.
Hey,
How do we
hi.
how do we reach a moment of non-judgmentalness in our own current situation as we are where we are right now so that we're free then to move on?
You ask, you ask, you ask yourself, you say, I would like to see this from a neutral or non-judgmental way. What would it take for me to be able to see this situation or whatever that I'm doing in a non-judgmental way and be able to feel it where you hold it in your body? The sun, the light that I was talking about can illuminate this, and you can ask when it's there. You can ask to be present with it, feel it, and then ask to clear and transmute it. But you have to sit with it first. You have to feel with it. You might even get an image of mom trying to do something, or put a bunch of things on the shelves, and you go to try to touch it and she says, no, that's not yours, you leave that stuff alone, and then she adds more stuff on there, and this had a negative connotation somehow in your life. And so whatever that caused, you might get a memory like that, and then it's part of so much. This is starting to listen to your inner background, your inner noise. And what happens is that it will start showing you. This is how a lot of time childhood like traumas are transmuted. This is how ancestral stuff is transmuted. You feel it in the body. You ask for it to be illuminated. You can ask what emotion that it holds when you got it. So I was 4 years old. I got this image from mom, and it has to do with unworthiness. Okay, so
Mm.
I remember this at 2 years old. I feel it in my gut. Mm. And this is where I feel unworthy. And this is why I cannot stop criticizing myself. I want to clear and transmute this. And I see you. And I'm giving you a big old hug, 2 year old, 3 year old, 4 year old. This is an inner dialogue. We inner dialogue in so many other outer ways that are pulled five different directions. Why don't you dialogue and use this creativity for yourself? And you start doing this more and more. This is where your intuition starts being built. It's pretty awesome. I clear and
So
transmute it
if
through
I
all
understand
time, spaces, and reality. But this is where it starts, and that root gets pulled up, and then a whole new perspective. Mhm.
So if I understand correctly, and correct me if I'm
Go
wrong,
ahead.
because I want to make sure I got this. I go into
Hmm.
a cluttered room in my house or a stuffy closet that has all kinds of junk in it. And I go in and I ask myself the question,
Mm.
why is this all messy? And then I ask myself, at what point of my life did I make this okay? Or am I asking this myself the question, is there a reason back, a root cause when I was younger that maybe I wasn't allowed to touch things and so I left things as they were?
Mm.
And then at what point did that happen? And then I see a younger version of myself. Let's say that I'm 12 and I'm trying to hide stuff in the closet and mom's like, no, don't put stuff in the closet or whatever. And then I'm going to give my 12-year-old Angela a hug and say, hey,
Mm.
you did the best you could and now you're older. This is your house. This isn't mom's stuff anymore. I'm giving you permission then
Mm.
to clean the closet and move on with no guilt. Is that kind of right,
Correct.
or did I miss a
Yeah,
step?
no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. There's no wrong way to do this. That is absolutely correct. And I'm so sorry, everybody, with the lag and everything. In Mauritius, we're having some winds, and so the internet's going in and out. So I apologize ahead of time. Sometimes these things happen. So we want to hear this stuff. We want to bring it out. And sometimes, so everything's energetic. Sometimes people want to hear stuff. Some people don't want to hear this kind of stuff. But if you don't want to hear it, that's probably where your block is. And that's what really takes us courage. Or that, just that in itself, Angela, is when normally we would go on Amazon and go get those 5 things because we don't want to feel it, because that fills us up. And then we fill up that closet again more. It's
Mm.
really getting in touch with your heart, with your intuition, with your body, how you feel, and being able to know that you have the power to clear these things by just having conversations within. But you want to have exactly that, Angela. You want to have, like, how old was I? Where did I get this from? Even if you have to make it up, you're starting to repeat something that is self care, that is for your
Mm.
body. And then pretty soon the inspiration, and then you want to fill it in. So if you're, so now clearing this unworthiness, what emotion would you like to bring in place of it? What download? You cleared your computer, you cleared everything off of it. It's now cleared. Guess what? You have a chance to it start showing up on the outside world, and you get some positivity, or you can get an emotion that resonates with you in that moment, that whatever that is, whatever emotion. So make yourself a list of all positive emotions. What would I like to bring into this? Okay, I would like to bring into this space. Oh, what does space feel like? Oh, yes. Okay. Make in your mind. Look it up on Google. What is the definition of space? Even if you know what it is, and put it in your mind. Another one. Oh, freedom. Ooh, wow. Freedom. Gratitude, gifts, whatever that it is, and ask for you to receive. You'll be so surprised. On not you, Angela, but people will be surprised when they start navigating their body. They pay attention to what they're hearing. And then their mind, because you're now your center, your hub, you're taking care of yourself, you're loving yourself, you're asking yourself questions, you're genuinely interested, you're giving this child that maybe never was loved or had some trauma or whatever some attention, which is really, really important. And you're loving on yourself, and then you're using your mind to be able to say, this is what I would like to do. And then the inspiration comes. I would like to
So let's
say
take it
that,
from inspiration and go to the next step. Let's say, for example, that I have a lifetime of energy that has been blocked, and I'm filling that space and that void with stuff. And I have room
Mhm,
after room after room in my house that's just wall to wall, floor to ceiling things. And I have a shopping addiction, and I buy stuff on Amazon or Walmart or whatever, and I just have it drop shipped to my house because that's convenient. How do I
mm,
then, after I've gone through these meditations of saying, okay, I'm going to forgive myself, I'm going to give myself the freedom to move on and clear this stuff out? What are some of the
mhm,
next steps to keep that energy in alignment? Because I have a feeling that although I do this today, and I'm like, yes, I give myself permission today. In just a couple of minutes, I'm
mhm,
going to get really overwhelmed again, and I'm going to say, like, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start decluttering, and then I get really
mhm.
overwhelmed again, and I bring that whole flood or avalanche of feelings back. And then I mean, I could spend all day trying to clear the clutter in my head first. But how do I transfer what I'm feeling in my head to actual
Mm.
activity? Does that make sense?
So yeah, absolutely. So so this is under, so I want people to try it and see that it does not create anxiety. You will be less if you have really gone inside of your body and you have addressed where you're feeling this in your head, in your heart, in your gut, or oh, I'm just uncomfortable. And you have illuminated that. So there's also a part of illuminating your body, asking for the light, asking to be illuminated, asking for it to move through your body, asking to do these things. When you have done this, you have started healing yourself, and things do change. You don't just do it for that moment and then all of a sudden you just go right back.
Hmm.
So, this is also just like with anything. So if you only do a tenth of the time that you're usually shopping on Amazon or you're getting the things, of developing this inner awakening, this inner knowing, it only takes a little bit to move a whole lot. That's how powerful we are. It's hugely powerful. And people say, well, that's impossible. Well, try it. Try it. If you need to be on a phone, like one of the things that I do with my clients when I'm first working with them is I ask them to think about the sun. Put an alarm on your phone once every 2 hours. I'm going to
Mm.
connect to my light. I'm going to be present with my body and do some breath work and bring the sun into my body and connect to the earth. Connect that I am here in my body. This is not woo woo, folks. This is you. What's woo woo is that you're pulled in 50 different directions and giving your life's force to everything and everyone besides yourself. And you wonder why you're exhausted and you're judgmental and you're criticizing and you're going into victimhood and you're doing all these things because you have nothing left. You're literally giving your vitality and life force to everything outside of you. That's strange, right? It's not strange to start asking yourself questions, get real with yourself, and take some responsibility and start. And you don't have to, you can imagine just a lightning bolt. Boom, a lightning bolt just went through my body. I want to be aware, body. Okay, that's all the time I have for that. Thank you very much until your next alarm. It's the tiny, people think it has to be this. That is the crudola that wants to distract you and tell you that you're not that powerful. You can't take just a moment and clear all the clutter of your life. BS. Yes, you can. You can, if you start bringing that just a tenth of the time, fifth of the time of what you normally do, and start asking, your world starts to change. We are powerful beyond belief when it comes to this. I mean, and you don't have to take my word for it. Try it. This is what I do with people. I bring them inside Vitality Unleashed. This is about going and bringing our own vitality into the world in a way that's creative, imaginative, wishes are granted, things are fulfilled in your life with ease and flow, with a lot more ease and flow versus everything bombarding you and consuming you from the outside in. And we wonder why we have sustainability problems on our earth. We wonder why we don't have a good relationship with our family and friends, maybe, or with what the sun and our earth. We wonder because we're not being sustainable inside of ourselves, just listening to ourselves and keeping our vitality. And we bring our true essence, our frequency of who we are, feeling who we are, vibrating who we are. We bring this incredible mm, life force to our world that attracts more life force. And the better it gets, the better that it gets. And so when people are giving them excuses, we will, especially in the Western world, I've traveled all over the world, and the Western world is very, very, they're about a lot of consumption. They are. It is a lot about a lot of consumption. And you know what? It's okay. It's all right. We're here. We're here right now. We are talking. We are learning how to start listening to your heartbeat, asking what it truly makes you happy. Something that really truly brings you joy or happiness can build upon itself, like laughter, like joy. It's not just a quick fix. The better it gets, the better it gets. It opens up, it opens up, it opens up new perspectives, new ideas, new creativity, all these things. Mm, you start feeling the
Oh, we just lost Andrea again. And I hate that because she was on a roll there. And she was talking to us about the essence. And I want to go back to something she said just a minute before, because it's something that I've been practicing myself. And I'm one of these people where my life was cluttered, not just my home, but my life. So much that my calendar was stacked. And I've got a whole bunch of employees and a whole bunch of independent contractors. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. And so it's really easy to get caught up in a day to day clutter, overwhelm, if you will, of just stuff. And so when she talked about setting an alarm, one of the things that I did that really has helped me personally is I started tracking and measuring my progress with my Fitbit. And there's an alarm that you can set on your Fitbit. And so it vibrates every hour on the hour. And there's a little guy who's got his arms up in the air, like, hey, get up and go exercise. And so what I did at my workstation was I put a little mini trampoline right on the other side of my desk so that every time that goes off, it's reminding me to get 250 steps in. And I use that as my clearance package where I'm going to clear my head. I'm going to get away from my computer for just a second. And I'm going to get away from all the clutter and the chaos and the pressure and the stress and the anxiety that just kind of sneaks up on you as you're in the middle of a task. And so what I do is I jump on my trampoline for 90 seconds. And I have an echo dot that is right there where I can just say, hey, Alexa, play me a song. And it will then play me a song based on whatever my listening I will give it a directive, a particular type of music or whatever. And then when the song pops on, I finish that song. I jump on the trampoline, finish that song. And then when the next song starts, I jump through the entire song. It's usually about 70 to 90 seconds for that particular little window of exercise. And what that does is that jump starts, instead of taking caffeine or a sugary drink or a caffeinated hit of some sort, 5 hour energy or whatever it is, it's a natural high. Okay, so you're jumping, you're getting your oxygen flowing again, you're getting your blood flowing again. You just kind of wipe the slate clean of all the chaos and clutter in your life. And now you can go back to what you were doing, or you can change gears. And I think this is what Aundrea was telling us, where you're clearing the energy field so that you can come back and be the best version of yourself. And so if it's little segments throughout the day where you're doing something to remind you that, hey, wait a second, I'm caught in a rut, we can pull ourselves out of that rut, even if it's only monetarily. And as we bring ourselves out of that, we have new choices. And the choice is this: if you spend just a second and you say, wait a second, I'm clearing that energy slate. Am I going to go back to what I was doing before, which you're welcome, if you want to bring that back into where you left off, or you can say, wait a second, I'm going to now spend the next 1 hour and I'm going to do something more positive, more uplifting, more clutter free, right? We now have choices. And I love that, because when you're aware, you have choices. And what Aundrea is asking us to do is bring that awareness front and focused. Because if you are aware, then you can make any decision you want, right? And I think that's the expression of self-love that she's talking about. She just joined us again. I'm going to ask Aundrea if you give us a thumbs up. Are you ready to come back up here? All right. I love this. She's willing to spend her evening with us, coming back in this
Mm.
space. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear. No, this, all of it is energy. So clearing and coming back, and I'd never be defeated. This is a good example. Everything is showing up exactly the way that it's supposed to in real time. And this is really hard. This is a show about decluttering your life. This is, you got to a place of clutter and that overwhelmment. So hearing someone call things out is not always easy, and it's not always received well, especially when you have given we've given you the pass to be non-judgmental, and you don't have to feel guilty about anything. Leave the mess. Get to yourself. Get to who you are and start trying these things. Start trying the ba-boom, ba-boom. Oh, I just got filled up with light. Okay, all right, that was enough for another hour. And I loved, Angela, what you said, because you brought it around in very clear terms, because you know your audience, and I just love it. But when you get to the point where you're having so much distraction, motivation and the self-help books and all this other stuff is just asking, you're looking for knowledge outside of yourself, which is what the clutter came from in the first place. The only way that you're going to get right and get to get that inspiration is from yourself, your interior, and trusting that and starting to turn all those lights on. Okay, self, can you turn on all those lights? I don't know if you're really doing it right now, but can you turn all these lights on? Boom, 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 boom. I'm ready. I want to be clear. I might not be clear right now, and I might even be scared, and I might not even think this BS works, because that's the way you're feeling and see it. Just do it. Acknowledge who you are, acknowledge yourself, acknowledge your presence in your life, and then watch the little inspirations that come where it's time to clear that room. It's time to clear that entryway. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to get to my car. And it's amazing. It shows up not just there. This is a product. You and I, we know this, Angela. This is a product of what is going on inside. And if you change what's
Mhm.
going on inside, it automatically will change on the outside. It is just that way. And thank goodness all that clutter's showing up. Thank goodness that it's all showing up, because it's showing you something is not working. Your attention is going out in too many different directions. It's time to bring in and start bringing that essence, that love. I just love people, Angela. I love people so deeply. If I get to work with the most magical, wonderful, beautiful clients. And I have this incredible gift to see people where all their wishes are fulfilled, where their dreams are realized, where their best versions of who they were when they put out when they were a little girl, and all their dreams. You can get there, and they're still there. They're still playing out. You just got to bridge those things together. And that starts with you and taking response and just not judging, not doing any, none of the self-help books, none of all the other stuff. Like, we're friends. I feel like we're all friends here having a conversation and cheering each other on. Is it my job? No. But I'm so passionate because I know that this stuff works. As simple as telling people to come back home. Isn't it seem so silly that we have to tell people to pay attention to themselves? Like, to bring in the love, to start seeing how magnificent you are, and that you can be passionate about life, that you can start mastering and being aware of your emotions without fear, and that you can ask yourself, okay, whoa, 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 that's too much. That's too much. I'm going to ask to go to neutrality right now on non-judgment. And if it doesn't work, okay, move your body. Distract yourself. Move, get a squishy ball in your hand. I'm sure somebody's got squishy ball. And instead of going to pick up something else or whatever, move your body with something. Even if you can't, if you're not getting up or whatever, squish a ball. Move your body, move that energy, whatever works for you. Just try to do something a little bit different. And if you can't love yourself, ask, how do I love myself in this moment? Or what does a person do that loves themselves unconditionally do in this moment? And guess what, Angela? You don't even have to do it. Just keep asking. It's amazing how divine and how connected and how uh, energetic that we are when we start asking these questions. Ask it for 6 weeks. Watch what comes in and new motivations. Ask for
Well, let
six
me ask you
months.
that question.
Mhm.
Let's say, for example, that a person does not believe in divine intervention, or they do not believe in a source outside of themselves. If they keep asking, who are they asking, and
There, and
where is the answer coming from?
right. So this is yourself. So that's why I keep on saying I'm not talking divine. So wisdom. So the things that we want to know about, I don't how to clean something. Whatever that it, if it's been done before, you can ask those and find those answers within yourself. You have these abilities to know. If it's already existed with on the outside of you, we're already physical matter. You go inside, you start opening up your own universal wisdom. I've never even said, I just say universal wisdom or the divine, because we are divine. What I mean is us. I'm not talking about something that's exterior. We are part of that. We, and I can understand why people wouldn't think that you're divine. So if you don't think that you're divine, and that you don't think that you're special, and you don't think so, start asking yourself questions. Why do I not think that I'm divine? Why do I not think I'm special? Oh shoot, I remember 12 years old, my dad came in and he was drunk, and he came in all the time, and he always made me do things and told me I was worthless and everything else. Oh, there it is. There'll always be a story, Angela. There will be. Keep it on track. Okay, I'm giving that 12-year-old love. Oh my goodness, that's why I don't feel divine. That's why I feel so worthless. Oh my goodness. I'm going to bring in light into my body. I'm going to feel where this is. I see you. I feel your body. I know you're trying to tell me something. Instead of turning it into some kind of dis-ease or where I have to keep on getting more and more stuff, can I just release you? I'm seeing you. Oh my goodness. Whoa, whoa. I'm getting visions. I'm getting understanding, the imagination. It's not imagination, it's our remembrance in our body showing us things,
Hmm.
doing stuff. Even if you're not sure, it doesn't matter. Give it some energy. I would like, okay, I'm giving myself a hug. I've got you. I'm an adult now. I've got you. I'm right here. I'm going to give you a hug. I love you. I've got this. You loved yourself when you were a child when nobody else gave it to you, or why that emotion or that pattern or block came up. Bring in the light into
So
the body and ask to
if
transmute it.
if I hear you correctly, and I think transmutation is a key to this, and it's not something that we're familiar with, that we've talked about a lot on this show. So I'm really glad that we're having this
Mhm,
conversation today, because this goes back to one of those deeper truths. If we can, because there are a lot of folks that have joined us here and they've shared some of their personal stories with us about
mhm,
trauma situations from when they were young. So if I hear what you're saying correctly, we go back to the time where we were either hurt, or there was trauma, or there was grief, or there was something that caused a blockage in our lives that stopped us literally from progressing forward in our lives. If we go back to
Mhm.
that moment in time and we look at that version of ourselves, the adult today version of us goes back and gives that person a hug. Because I'm going to say this, if I could make a bet, I'm betting my money most of the people that are joining us here today are givers. They would give you their shirt off their back. They would rescue a small animal that needed help. They would take care of the neighbor before they take care of themselves. I mean, these
Perfect.
are givers and people who have
Mhm.
immense amounts of love and compassion and kindness inside their heart, but they're not giving that to themselves. And if we go back to that smaller version from way back when,
Mhm.
and I say, hey, little Angela, you are so sad in this moment, and I want to go back and I want to give you this hug. Does this then
Mhm.
transmute to today, where I say, little Angela, I want to teach you how to clean your room? I want to show you that there's a better way for you to live because you do
Mhm.
deserve it. And give
Mhm.
that little version of blocked, uncreative, sad, grief stricken Angela, I want to
Mhm.
give you permission today to have a new way of living because you deserve it. I want to love you through the process and I want to help you clean out those drawers and clean out the closet. And I want to make space for you to enjoy the life that you're really worthy of. Is that what I'm
Right.
hearing you say?
Yes, so even and that's beautiful. So that is one way. So you could, but to be really open to really transmute it so that there's not a thing that like because you you don't want to be attached necessarily to the outcome. The action is good. I get the action part of it. It's very, very important. But you want part of that is you want to ask what that little girl, okay, you're looking at this, you're feeling this. Would you like to be sent to the light and all of this clears out all the way? Would you like a new job or would you like to integrate? Meaning I've got
Mm.
you. I'm integrating. So you ask that you're integrating, you're now growing up. I've got you. So you don't have to keep on acting out these behaviors and doing all. And then so I understand what you're saying, but there doesn't necessarily need to be all that mind work because once you integrate the child and it truly is integrated and you paid attention, she's going to be on the job and that's where what you're saying, that's where that inspiration is.
So, at what point then do we let go of the tiny Angela that has all the blockage?
You just ask in that moment, would you like to go to the light? Would you like to integrate? Or would you like a new job? And you might not know right away, but you have to practice. This is part of practicing the inner dialogue inside of ourselves. And even if you're not sure, write it down or just remember it. Or if you're not sure, ask for a positive emotion. I would like for you to feel worthy. I love you. I want you to know how incredibly dynamic or special that you are, or that you are so worthy. And I could give you a whole bunch of jobs if you want that's going to make you feel really good. You know what I mean? Like something light and a positive emotion is really important to put into that perspective. So now what we're doing is we're learning to clear our past, we're learning to heal, and we're learning emotional mastery on top of learning about our intuition and bringing that out.
Virginia
Yes.
says, I love the idea of teaching my little self how to clean and declutter. I was messy from childhood. So, and
Mhm.
thank you for adding that, Virginia. It's really great
Mhm.
that we are learning these skills today so that we can approach
Mhm.
the situation that we're kind of trapped in from a new perspective or a new situation or a new area. I love that.
Mm. Isn't it nice, Angela, to not just talk in like metaphors or just talk and talk, to actually give what people are really needing in a holistic way, meaning mind, body, spirit, meaning your soul, or whatever your meat body, if you don't believe in that, your heart, your physical essence. All of it is, and as you go more in harmony, then it starts showing the harmony shows everywhere.
Well, let me ask you a question about harmony. Let's say that I was
Hmm.
asking myself these questions every day, like, how are you feeling right now in this moment? And would you like to go to the light or would you like to have a new job? That's this kind of a thing.
Hmm.
How do I know when I've reached the correct answer? What about
You'll
my
know.
being will tell me?
You'll know. You'll know. You just know, you just have to start trusting yourself. You can also use something like a pendulum. A lot of people do this so that they just like just ask like a yes and no. This is a very simple. This is not woo woo. This is all energetic. So if you don't trust yourself, take it off. Take the take the pressure off of you being intuitive and getting you the right answer. What's your yes? Up and down. What's my no? Side to side. Okay, you put it down and you put your elbow down on the table and you say, okay, does she want to go to the light? Is it going up or down? Okay, I'm taking that. Boom. Yes, she's going to go up to the light. You just made a decision for yourself and you move on. You don't want to get stuck. And this is, I love Angela. I love it. I love it. I love the way I love it, love it, love it, how you're approaching this. You want to take out the mind chatter and all of the pulling and self doubt and everything, and make a note to yourself. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill up. We're going to do this really quickly. We're going to do this because we're going to be in action. I want people to be able to feel it. So we're going to bring in the light. We're going to bring it all through the body. I'm just going to, with a breath, breathing in, you're bringing in light into your whole body. You're just bringing awareness into your body. You're imagining the sun's coming in your body. You're grounding your feet all the way. And you're saying, hello, Mother Earth. Thank you for everything. Your feet are in the ground. You're feeling the energy of the earth. You're being thankful. Fake it until you make it if you have to. But you're just focusing. You're bringing your imagination. You're centering yourself. You're bringing yourself to the present. Okay. Yum. All right. So bringing back up this energy from the earth, asking the earth to support you in your manifestations, asking your creation and your creativity and your illumination and in your imagination, because that's what she does. The earth gives us, that loves us unconditionally, loves and loves and loves us, bringing up that love,
So
receiving, asking to receive that love.
if I start
Hmm.
this process, and I'm going to call it a daily
Hmm.
meditation and a daily
Hmm.
mindfulness, maybe an hourly mindfulness, where I start paying attention and asking different questions, what kind of
Hmm.
things will start showing up in my life that will let me know that I'm on the right track?
So, so this is exactly the answer to your question. So you're bringing in the light. This illumination answers all your questions with clarity. To make the intention to have the sun, to be able to connect yourself to the presence, brings the answers to now, instead of the mind monkey. Oh, oh, another thing, even, oh, another question, boom, boom. But right now we're coming back to the body, bringing the presence. Where am I feeling doubt in my body? Ooh, I'm feeling that in my solar plexus, or right in the middle of my body. Breathe into that. Okay, wherever I feel doubt. Ooh, I feel it in the back of my mind. I feel it in the back of my head. It feels like a lot of pressure. I just want to clear that. Can I just clear that? Where did I start doubting myself? 7 years old. My mom, every time that I had an idea or something like that, my idea, and I knew that it was going to be really good and I was going to have fun, my mom would stop me and tell me that I needed to do it different. Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay. I got it, mom. That's where I got the energy from. And this energy pulls from that moment. We don't have to keep on going and going with the same issue. There might
Mhm.
be a couple times, but the same issue. So we ask for the root cause. 7 years old, from mom, where I doubt myself. I see a 7-year old. I see it. I want to clear and transmute. I feel it in my body. I would like to move body, as a child. I would like whatever that comes to you. I'd like to remove this. Thank you. Clear and transmuting it through all my times, all spaces and realities, or clear and whatever that you want to clear it with. Bring yourself present with the breath and ask, okay, again, right?
What if
Again,
what if
would
what
you
I'm
like another
coming up
job?
to What if
Hmm.
what I'm coming up
Hmm.
to is not me saying I got tripped up in this moment, but that I got tripped up with another person involved? Like, let's say the trip up is the other person involved that keeps either showing up in my life, bringing their chaos, and it's not necessarily my own, but it's interfering with me.
Hmm.
Like, let's say that I'm getting visceral feelings every time someone comes into my space. How do I let that go? Because
You mean somebody that's present? You mean somebody that's present that is
yeah, like
in
let's
your
let's say that
home?
yeah, somebody either that lives in
Hmm.
my home, it's a member of the family, or somebody that I'm related to.
Yeah.
What if I'm getting those feelings and it's not necessarily me that I'm angry with, but maybe I'm angry with them, and that's causing chaos in my universe?
Right, right. So you have to take self responsibility. You're there. You're in the same house. You have to take self responsibility. You have to bring awareness. Yeah, you are in that relationship. You are in that thing. So it is your responsibility. It whether that person is doing what you can do is start changing your inner world and clearing that out. And the way that your perspective, the way that you deal with that person, or your triggers or whatever that is, or the hooks, whatever you bring in, you start illuminating yourself, you start illuminating your house, you start illuminating your relationships, you start illuminating and things start to change. Or that person doesn't come at you in that same way anymore because you're starting to your whole way of living, being, seeing, and doing changes when you do this kind of work. But you have to be responsible. If that person and that person is still coming in your life and you don't like it and you haven't been able to say anything and now you have some tools to be able to start clearing, see
So
what happens.
So if you're going to start
Hmm.
clearing your own personal space, what I'm hearing you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is I hear you say
Hmm.
create some personal boundaries where when that person comes into your space, instead of you interacting with them the way that you always interacted, maybe you watch it more like a puppet show and you kind of observe it from the outside and say, I'm not going to play those games anymore. I'm going to keep myself safe because I respect myself. And I'm going to let you pull your
Hmm.
shenanigans, but it's not going to affect me the way that I've always allowed it to. Is that kind of the right
Because you've just
track?
cleared it. Because you've cleared it. You've cleared it. So the way that you interact with that person, and it's going to naturally, because when you love yourself, you don't need as many boundaries. Because when you
Mhm.
truly love, love is not subjective to conditions. Love is love. So when you start emitting a more of a love frequency, you don't have the boundaries and all of that. It starts showing up more naturally. It starts happening. It's not from a mind thing. It is from the way that our heart and our body and our emotions and the mind all work together that change our environment, our perceptions, the way that we see. We've now started paying attention to ourself emotionally and how we feel. And now we're learning not to be non-judgment or being non-judgmental and neutral. Why would that be any different than the person that's standing right in front of you? You don't think that they're going to feel that? And even if they don't, then you're going to find other ways to probably make some changes in your life. The things that were hard to make changes with before, like your clutter, like the relationships change too. Everything changes. Clutter is just one of the symptoms of the many. Most likely, if people are having a lot of clutter and stuff like that, they probably have a lot of problems with relationships and for a lot of other things too. It shows up in different. This is a holistic way. This is the true way of clearing the clutter out of your life. It is the whole way. It's not with force of the mind. It's not with judgment or criticizing. Yeah, motivation.
So
It's. Mhm.
if somebody was aware that their life was, I'm going to say, bricked up with a whole bunch of chaos and clutter and appointments and family members that are
Mhm.
theatrical or dramatic, if you will, it's drama queens. How would somebody come to you to work with you so that you could help them specifically in their own particular scenario, break down those walls and then become the truest
Mm.
version of themselves that then can emit the unconditional love that
Mhm.
you're talking about? Because there are
Yeah.
people, myself included, that are I'm
Mhm.
aware I want to make a change. And so how do I go
Mm.
from who I have been for all the years of my life to saying I see a different version of myself I want to become? How does somebody work with you and
Yes.
what would they expect from a session with
Mm.
you?
So what happened is and thank you so much, Angela, for asking that. So what I do on Vitality Unleashed, we have many modules, and these modules hit on these different parts and these different holistic. So one is clearing and learning how to clear childhood trauma, loving yourself, learning to be able to receive, mm, to be able to receive yourself, basic health, how to create and how to go about as far as creating a meditation for yourself. This is for this person. I'm not really showing that. I'm showing because if I'm telling them what to do, then I'm not doing what I'm saying I'm doing. I'm holding people. I'm just being a mirror. I'm an incredible mirror. And through these modules, what happens is these modules have an immense power within them, and they start moving things, and people start remembering things. And it's also on your own spirit, your own spirituality. It clears. There's a module on there or there's a series of a module getting through the onion layers of the 5 things that keep us from being able to connect with our love and who we truly are. Who am I? And it has to do with self-criticism. It has to do with victimhood. It has to do with self-righteousness. These are things that we clear from the root so that you can go directly. It is the most powerful stuff that I could find, and through 15, 20 years of working with people, to get right in there so people can start just going. That this has to, that the suffering and the drudgery and the healing and oh my gosh, people, this is just a story we tell ourselves. That it's not the truth. We are so powerful. There are incredible shortcuts when you know how to ask the right questions and how to ask them, and create a sequence that you can get results within 5 hours, within 3 months, within 6 months. Even the I love you, even the I love you. You do that for a whole year. What does a person do that loves themselves? Or what can I do to love myself? Whether you do it or not, after a year, you're not asking that question anymore,
Mm.
because you feel it, you know it, you do it. It's part of, it's like your arm, your leg, it's your emotional new set point. So the way that you interact and the way you have your home and what you are with your children, love is a very, very powerful thing for our inner self. And when we're always cultivating that, and we're bringing that attention to ourselves, not to everybody else, because truly, and I'm going to say this, 'cause I remember you said something, that you have lovers and givers and people, but if people don't know how to love themselves and they're giving it all away, there are so many strings attached to that. There are so much stuff that comes out sideways, and the clutter and everything else. If you can love everybody and you can't love yourself, there's a problem there. There is a problem there. And I trust and trust that your love is more conditional than you think if you have not cultivated that love that is within. When you
Well,
cultivate that love within, people can feel you. They can feel it. Yes.
well, thank you so much for your time and attention
Mm,
today. Our time is up, and I want to
you're
be
welcome.
respectful
Sorry,
of
I
your
keep going.
time. I really have learned so much today, and I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to go ahead and write down. I will leave links in the notes below, but to write down the vitalityunleashed.live website so that you can reconnect with Aundrea Sides after this is over. Because if you are a person that has spent your entire life giving to other people and not giving to yourself and not receiving that unconditional love, and that's what's blocking you from that, she is in a position of
Mm,
expertise and power to help you unleash the old version of you into the new version that you actually deserve.
mm,
I want to leave that with you today. I want to thank you again, Andrea, for joining us today. And I want to thank everybody that
mhm,
joined us live today, and those also that are listening and watching to the replay. To participate by tuning in. And thank you, Muppet 929 and A Rashi and
mhm.
Virginia and everybody else that joined us
I
today.
know.
Thank you so much for tuning in, because you deserve to
Mhm.
live the life you were meant to live. So we'll see you here, same time, same place
Woohoo!
next week. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great week.